I'm Caroline Framke. I'm moderating about social media, which is something I know has brought a lot of us together, a lot of Drag Race fans together, a lot of people together in general, and I feel like we have a really good panel here of people who have used social media. One thing I'm always interested in with people who find a way to make social media like something that they can grow and become a part of is, was there any moment in particular where you were on social media and building up your brand and you were like, this is something I'm really good at?
I was a little reluctant to join social media. Mean Girls is like a really big movie, so you know there's a lot of like internet, like it's been dissected on the internet.
By me.
By her. So when I finally got into it, I really picked up a lot of traction after Lindsay and I took this picture at a restaurant, and like my Instagram following just went like insane. But what really meant something to me was I was closeted, which is so weird. And I had like this moment where, I mean, I can't believe it now that I was for so long. And then in 2014, like right around the 10th anniversary of Mean Girls, I had a fan write me a letter and was like, I don't know if you're gay or not, and it doesn't really matter, but you helped change my life, because when I was in 8th grade, I was like this little chubby sissy, and then Mean Girls came out, and then I go into 9th grade, and the popular senior girls on my first day of school were like, you're like Damien, come sit with us. And it affected me so deep to like the core of who I am, like as a man and who I was as a young teen. And I was like, this has power. And that's when I knew that I had to pay way more attention to it and take it seriously and use my evil powers for good.
Is there anything that you wish you knew when you first started out that you've come to learn over the years?
Anyone who takes time to write something mean on social media is a loser.
You know, on that same note, cut off her applause, I'm talking. No, on that same note, I found out that most of the people, I broke something. I found out that most of the people that do comment crap on the internet don't even believe what they're saying. They're just trying to like be seen and engage and get like a rise out of you. So like a lot of these people that come and say something racist or say something whatever and anything, homophobic, anything, they could be gay, and like you know, like it doesn't even matter. They just want to see you get upset. So don't engage.
I feel like this probably goes for everyone. When I first started, I literally remember the first mean comment I ever got, and like it shook me to my core. Like I stayed in my room for like a month, and I was like, I know I need to get thicker skin, but I don't. And I was like, how do the Kardashians do it? And I immediately had this like huge respect for the Kardashians. And so now I know, like, I love getting mean comments, because for every mean comment, there's like 10 positive ones. So they encourage me. My haters are my motivators. But when you're starting out, it's really hard to like learn that. And, like that's stuff you learn in school. Like mean people are bad. Like, but it's hard to like put those things into action.
I think what I wish I knew from the beginning is to find the humor in it always, which I do now. My favorite comment ever was someone replied to a tweet I sent about Beyonce, which you. But the comment, they call me Casper the Faggot Ghost, which I think is hilarious because it nails it. And now, yeah, I'm like, top that. If you can't top that, then don't come for me.
She's clear, but she's friendly.
Yeah, but then it's also like twofold, because like you get all these messages that are super negative, and like part of you wants to indulge and like play with them, but then part of you is like, I'm better than this. And every once in a while, like you get one that you like totally go in on. Like I've gone nuts, and I've like started FaceTiming people. I'm like, oh, you're so brave? Let's FaceTime. Say it to my face. Because like people literally, I was on Say Yes to the Dress, which has like this huge like national Midwestern like audience who they so don't get me, like a just chubby like Jewish girl from New York, and that's fine. I got a lot of negative feedback from it, and people literally came to my personal Facebook, like this mom from Idaho, she was like, you're disgusting. And I was like, really, Carol? Let's FaceTime. Say it to my face. And she did it. So that makes me feel better. But then you can't go too far. Like I've gone too far sometimes, where like this girl was like really terrorizing me on Snapchat, like calling me like crazy things. And I screenshotted it and put it on my Instagram, which like is this big platform, and I found her personal Instagram. I'm like, this is the girl. And everyone, my followers, like flocked. It was amazing, until I realized it was the wrong girl. So all these people were saying terrible things about this poor artist, Robin Michelle, not Rachel Michelle. I felt, oh my God, like like the worst I've ever felt in my whole life. I was like, thank God she was so cool. She was like loving that her art was getting like publicity. And she was really cool, but like it could have been so much worse. Like I always think like the police are at my door and that I'm like getting arrested. So don't indulge too much. Cautionary tale.
I do Italian, like a shit Italian mom say on YouTube where I dress like my mom. Thank you. Who's right over there? Hi, Mom. But yeah, so I have like Italian mom has her own personality on Facebook. She has her own page and everything. And so some guy was like, I don't like the way this guy's untalented. He doesn't do Italian moms well. I'm like, well, I did yours well. And then like, and I don't realize that a lot of the fans of that are Italian moms, and they're like, that was disgusting. I was gonna defend you, but you behave so I just have to like delete everything and go back and like dust under the rug.
That's the thing that's about social media that sucks so much, is that people who come after you get so much more attention because they're so much louder, but you have people like that who want to defend you, who are into what you're doing so much and are really invested. How has that been a part of how you've grown your social media presence, how you've gone forward?
I have shockingly had very, very little negativity on my account. When there have been like wait for it, yeah. It's interesting when there are articles posted on other platforms, like then the comments section, I learned very quickly not to read those. But on my little oasis of the internet, it's like 99.9% positive. And it's just been, I don't know, it's been kind of incredible, like engaging. And there has been some negativity. Somebody is counting down the days until I commit suicide, which it's not happening. And there is negativity that comes, but I just delete it and pretend that it didn't happen, because 99.9% of the comments are positive and heartfelt and heartwarming, and I sort of set a rule, and it's a very specific thing that I'm doing, but I set a rule that it's only positivity. And I've been sort of heartfelt at how many people are willing to engage in social media in probably a way they wouldn't in real life. I mean, I get like guys who are more on the spectrum of sexuality questioning why they're attracted to this drag queen, or like gay boys who are questioning like, can they really be as liberated as they want to be?
So in terms of finding a community, creating a community, what has been maybe the most surprising thing about the community that you've built, people that you've found that maybe you weren't expecting to find otherwise?
I think it's like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the range of, like, I never thought that there would be another like chubby Jewish girl who watches Netflix and eats Chinese food like in Australia. So it's like the scale at which social media provides is like so cool. Like I never knew that like I could have so many friends. Like, and that sounds really lame, but it's true. Like there are all these people who like I really connect with more so than people that I know in real life. And I've never met them. I know nothing about them. Like I don't know who they are, but I just love them. So it's like lame, but it's true.
Yeah, that's why I love coming to DragCon, because I get to meet a lot of you guys that I talk to and that tweet me and write things, and I get to see them in person, and it's like so cool. It's like pen pals, you know? I think that's really amazing. I kind of noticed that the Trevor Project, which you guys know is a great organization to prevent teen suicide, their Twitter is awesome. Their social media presence is great. They're always just writing things like, hey, in case you didn't hear today, you're loved, you know? And you could see in the comments how much that means to people. So it's something that I've kind of put into, because, you know, if you have a social presence, you have a social responsibility. I mean, you can call bullshit on that for me, and that's fine. Like, you know, I mean, maybe CarrieDragshaw is like, my responsibility is to look fierce, but like, I like, but I feel like, you know, as a person who's been put into some kind of like, I don't know, influencer, icon, whatever kind of place that I didn't put myself in, but like my fans did, I feel a responsibility to reach out to them, and you'd be so surprised how just like a little bit of positivity goes a long way in really reaching your people. And I think that I get that back from them.
Yeah, that's also something that's hard right now, is obviously we're living through a fraught time. I feel like that's a vast understatement. But how do you balance what's happening with what you're doing on social media? How much do you feel a need to respond to everything? What do you feel like your place is right now?
I mean, I made a very deliberate decision with my social media presence Carrie doesn't live in this world, and it's all my duty or my like job that I feel is to give people a little bit of a break and to help people with their day-to-day struggles of loving themselves and accepting themselves and feeling beautiful even though they're not at their goal weight, and all of these like daily things that happen no matter what's going on in the world, kind of addressing those. And I mean, I have a tremendous number of opinions on global and political issues, and now I do have this platform, but it just, I think, you know, defining your lane and staying in that and being honest with your followers that this is what you're going to get here. And I'm not, you know, the G20 summit isn't in Carrie's life. And there are plenty of other, I think it's very important for the internet to keep people woke and to keep people aware of these things. And I think activism online is incredible. But it's just, my role is to help those activists smile a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm piggybacking. I completely agree. Like I've always said, whatever's going on, my platform is joy. So I just want someone to go on Instagram and like not be inundated with like the that's going on in the world. And I feel like I do a good job of that. Like just being completely like, everything I do is like funny. And if it makes everyone feel better to like talk about the Real Housewives of New York reunion for an hour, then I'm more than happy to supply that to everyone.
I actually have a hard time with this. I have a hard time with this with my stand-up comedy, and I have a hard time with this with social media, because I want to be funny and I want to be an escape, but I'm also like pretty woke, and I like, you know, I'm like, I can't be lobbying Capitol Hill for HIV rights and then like, you know, not say anything on World AIDS Day. So it's like I have this thing where I will post like 5 really funny things in order to get like you know, make sure to call your senators about DACA. You know, like I try to bookend it with some comedy, because I feel like the spoonful of sugar method kind of works for me as far as that goes. But I feel like one thing I can do is like and comment and support other social media people that are really going out there and the resist movement, doing certain things, because that does help them get their, helps them trend, you know. So I do support people who support me, and I support people who are doing the right thing in the world.
I agree. I have a hard time with this too, but I feel like as much as I want to just be funny all the time, we live in hell, and like it's hard to turn it off and to ignore it. And so I try to do my best. I'm not great at it, but of boosting those other voices when I can, and sharing people who know better than I do. And yeah, I mean, trying to make light of things that I can make light about, but sometimes it's just like, well, we banned trans people from the military, and like that's like sometimes you like can't make a joke about it. And yeah, you just have to kind of like address it. And
yeah. You know, a retweet goes a long way. It doesn't have to be your content. You can retweet something and it still kind of get to your audience without it having to be your personal brand messaging.
Yeah, and I try to do a lot with my captions where I'll bring in, you know, if like the caption after the trans ban day was a lot about living outside of society's expectations and embracing people who do that and not being afraid of it. And so if you're really woke, you can interpret that as a reaction to the trans ban, but it's really only the like super fans who are like decoding CarrieDragshaw messages to figure it out. So it's kind of what you want to make of it.
All right, awesome. Let's get some questions going. If anyone has questions, there's a microphone right in front of me. I'm doing this like a flight attendant right now.
What is your social media platform of the moment, and what do you think is like gonna die soon and emerge more in the next coming years?
It's funny because I have more followers on Twitter than I do on Instagram, but Instagram's like my jam. Yeah, me too. Like I love Instagram. I feel like there's so much audio, visual, like text. There's like everything's there. But there's no buts. Instagram, I guess, is my favorite. I enjoy it more than anything.
Yeah, Instagram stories is my jam. Snapchat stories was my jam for a while, but like Evan Spiegel is like so busy being married to Miranda Kerr that he's like not taking my inquiries, and I have so many issues with the platform that no one is addressing. So until those are addressed, I here support Instagram.
I think Instagram is my favorite to look at, because, I don't know, there's a lot of guys who don't wear clothes and who are just dumb, and I don't want to hear them speak. I just want to look at them. Honestly, Instagram stories was the worst thing that ever happened to the like Instagram model, because now I can hear your dumbass voice.
Excuse me.
Not you, not you.
Yeah, sure.
But I felt like, even though I put the most energy probably into Twitter, that's actually where I have the least amount of followers. Facebook is where I grow the most, because wine moms are on Facebook. But I mean, Facebook has just a huge audience, and it's a lot about like having conversations, sharing things with your friends, and it stays, like, things stay on Facebook longer than they do on Twitter, and yeah.
I also have 9 Tumblrs that nobody knows are me.
Same.
So true.
Tumblr's dark.
Yeah.
A lot of my content is mostly photography and videography, and it's not necessarily about me. Could you comment on how important it is for you to have the confidence to put yourself into your content and to brand your content as...
You're a photographer?
Yeah.
So what I would do is curate your tags, where you're tagged. Make sure that everything that you're tagged in is stuff that you like. To be like, tag me in that, and make sure it's like photo, and then like go in and like photo options and like remove the ones that you don't like, because the truth is in the tags.
Yeah.
You know, that's where people really look you up and see what you look like and everything else, especially when you don't show your stuff. And you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was drunk at Applebee's. You know?
I love that question because my Instagram, GirlWithNoJob, is like completely like not associated with my face. Like if you followed me on GirlWithNoJob, you might not know who I am. But now Instagram Stories has changed that. But I felt it was really like important for me not to put my face at like the center of all the pictures because like no one would like it or follow me. But it's important to like have your voice be in the captions, be in the type of content. People like, they notice that. Like if you see a picture and you want them to know like, oh, this is, what's your name?
David.
This is David's photo. Like, I don't even need to look. I know it's David's photo. So as long as there's like a cool voice, whatever your voice stands for, as long as that's like fluid in all your content, people will like know that's your personality, you know?
So a lot of Instagram and all the social medias are nothing but like companies coming in and paying these people to post things. And I was curious your experiences with that as well as your thoughts on it.
It's a good way to make some money, you know, but I personally, just how I am with any kind of endorsement that I do, even if I'm like doing modeling or anything, it's all just like things I actually believe in.
Right.
I think authenticity is key. People can smell fake from miles away.
Also, like, I mean, I love sponsorships. It's like how I pay my bills, and I don't want them to stop for anyone listening and who might want to give me one. But it's important that like you do other stuff. Like some girls like come off The Bachelor, have 100,000 followers. Every single post is like a bra, a gummy bear. Like you have to diversify your content a little bit. But also it's important, like brands that I work with are brands, like if Nike reached out to me, it would be amazing, but like it would make no sense. Like I don't work out, I don't even own Nikes. Like that would make no sense. But McDonald's, Burger King, alcohol, that is stuff that one of my followers wouldn't think is sponsored because I'm eating McDonald's anyway. I would just like to be paid for it. You know what I mean? So it just needs, I like things that make sense. So as long as it makes sense, we're good.
I'm wondering if you have any advice for people who are just getting started with using social media to try to promote something that you're really passionate about, but like without being too salesy, like a documentary about a drag performer who won the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race, but like I just don't have a social media following yet, and I'm trying to grow it.
Well, I feel like the cool thing about that is that like the LGBT community, the drag community is like strong on social media. So there's like a ton of people who want to hear what you have to say. So it should be relatively easy for you. And that goes for like every community. Like there's a skateboard community, there's like a food community. There's so many like subreddits that of people who really want to hear what you have to say. So as long as you can like find that community and like penetrate in the bad way, then I think you're good.
How do you do that?
Just DMs.
You know, comment and support where other people are. Do you want to be part of a group? Be interested in what the group's doing. Like, follow who they follow. Like, comment on the page. Be present, you know? And when
Come
one
to
of them,
DragCon.
you know when, like, you're on Instagram, for instance, and you could see at the top, like, the few people who you also follow, like, you start to end up in their feed, and then people start to notice you, and they, it ends up being like, well, oh, you know, she liked this, so I like this, you know, kind of thing. It's like a following system. With Twitter, I think it's like a party, you know? Like, if you're at a party and you're like, watch my documentary, watch my documentary, watch my documentary, like, everyone's gonna, like, walk away from you, you know? But if you're like, hey, that's a really great sweater, you know? Like, oh, and watch my documentary. It's like, you're starting a conversation.
Yeah, and I think making sure like there's the strategizing side and then there's the content side, and making sure the content that you're putting out there is fun for people and exciting for people to engage in, and isn't always, oh, go see this other thing on this other platform or go to this link to see. Just make where you are and where they're finding you really exciting and interesting and authentic to who you are. And then I think it'll naturally happen.
Also, in your Insta story, you can tag people that are doing similar content as you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I get to find a lot of people that are into what I'm into, is that they'll repost me and tag me, and I'll be like, oh, why are they doing that? Oh, because they like the same stuff. So it's like, it helps you kind of get to know some of the people that are already doing the influencing.
I think frequency helps. You know, I mean, there's a direct correlation between like when you post and like when people follow you. I mean, or unfollow you, because they see. Anyway, yeah, I mean, post a lot, and also think about like the voice that you're saying things in, and whether like I know you know what you like, and like when you're scrolling through things, and like what you respond to, and so like think about, okay, if I saw this thing, what would it make me laugh? Would I want to share it? Like that's how I kind of approach it.
You could also follow WhatsUpDanny on like every single one of my photos.
I think a lot about social media as being sort of the legacy that we leave behind, and I'm wondering what legacy you're hoping to leave behind
So
with
embarrassing.
with your social media presence.
I do think I thought a lot about when I first started. I think what was so intimidating to me when I first started was like, oh my God, what I write is gonna live forever, and like I'll be dead in the ground or wherever they throw me, and like I have no idea like what people are gonna remember. I feel like the more you post, like the more it becomes about like what you're posting right now, and like it doesn't, like things are ephemeral and people forget, and yeah, so it's, that doesn't really answer your question. I don't know, I hope people remember I'm funny.
Mine's a little more deep because I do feel.
I would hope so.
I prefer Coke. No. I kind of saw the impact when I told that story in the beginning, like of what it is to leave behind like a legacy. And I have a social media company where I help other people learn how to use social media, you know, and help strategy and stuff like that. So I was working with this like Grammy-winning like singer who's in her 70s, Grammy-winning songwriter in her 70s, and she was talking about legacy work and what's it important to leave behind. And I wasn't thinking of that in my 30s, you know? So I kind of started to think about like, what do I want to leave behind? And when I saw the impact that body positivity and that kind of stuff was happening, and I realized how when that fan wrote me that letter, I wish when I was 16 I had somebody to look like that. I had nobody to identify to in the media like at all, so I realized how important my identity is, and that goes for everyone who's an individual, like, and how important your identity is to show people that there's people like them out there. So if I was to leave anything behind, you know, I became a plus-size male model because I was just trying at first just to be present and have people see someone like that, and then what that's become now is sort of something that might open a door for someone who's now maybe 14 and like watching my legacy and knowing that that's something that they can aspire to. So whatever it is that you have to offer, there's somebody out there that needs to see themselves in you. And that's the beauty of what social media does for us, is we can find that mirror image out there and we can feel validated.
Yeah, just to piggyback super quick off what you said, like, I mean, a lot of what I do and talk about is how like Kendall Jenner and Gigi Hadid are everything, and they are, and I'm obsessed with the way that they look, but it's also like highly unrealistic to look up to those girls as any sort of role models, A, because like they only are where they are because of who they are, and B, like they don't even look like the way they look in magazines. So it's important for me to like make that juxtaposition of like they're amazing, they're everything, but also like I'm chubby and like I'm also everything. So that little impact of like a 16-year-old girl like in Long Island who's just like thick. Like thick is in. I'm in for thick, but like putting on like a platform that like, yes, you can have 2 million followers and you don't have to look like Kendall Jenner and people are still gonna like you, is hopefully a small legacy.
Fashion and media, and especially the LGBTQ space, we're always served the side of abs with like everything. They're like, you know, here's some suntan lotion and some abs. Here's a sandwich and some abs. You like this window treatment? Here's some with abs. Like, and it's like, you know, even in the big and tall male space, because now I have a big and tall company, the winstonbox.com. But even like, even in that space, like most of the catalogs and stuff, their sample size is a 36. So someone with like a 64 waist has to aspire to be something that potentially their body can never ever be. So I'll just like, you know, show off my big waist everywhere I can, and I don't even care.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right.
I have a belly. I have a belly.
I think that's all the time we have today. So thank you so much for coming out, and thank you to our panelists.